Hi, Mary Jean. Thank you again for allowing me to sit in your classroom. After talking to you the other day, I went in and checked some things, and I wanted to just go over and clarify some things that we talked about. So, one, I swear that I wrote down that we were looking at the Challenge 1-C problem in the Applia app, and that's where we had opened it up, and it said there was an application problem under it instead of a challenge. I don't see that anywhere here now in my course. So I'm curious if you do find that, if you can tell me where you found that in the course, I'm happy to send that to the product team. But beyond that, other things I wanted to talk about, I know that you had mentioned you wanted for the challenge problems in your course for students to have the do no harm feature so that it's not going to hurt the percentage of their grade. And then for the study guide, you wanted it to be able to count for a grade so that it would go into the grade book. So I'm looking at this again. I figured out some things. So when you click the gear, these two settings are going to set that for the entire course. The scoring that we were looking at where you can do the do no harm, that only applies to grade it now questions that allow multiple attempts. So grade it now means that students will have 3 attempts to be able to work through a problem. If there are multiple versions of that, which I don't believe we have that for this MindTap, but if there are, that means that for each attempt they'd get a different version of the problem. I think if you click that for this course, it just means that students will automatically get 3 attempts if you do use the grade it now. So if you only wanted to do that for the challenge problems and set that to do no harm, you could just change all of your challenge problems here to the grade it now. And then that should accomplish what you were looking for. So, say I'm doing that here in my course. And I know there's more challenge problems than that. So you would have to click through all of the challenge problems and switch these to the grade it now setting. And then for your study guide problems that you have in your learning path, automatically here, it seems like the normal setting is to have these as randomized. So for these settings, when you look at these, randomized, grade it now, or standard, all 3 of those are going to count towards the grade book. The only one that will not count towards the grade book and is automatically marked as practice is the unlimited feature. So if you want students to be able to just attempt it as many times as they want on their own without you resetting it, that's unlimited, but it's going to count as practice and it's not going to go into the grade book. So, you can keep these. I think you had these on unlimited, and that's why we couldn't change them to be able to be graded. But once you switch it to randomized or standard, then those will be graded. And you can always see the difference between these options if you click the little question mark up here inside the Applia app. The very first FAQ is assignment types. And so this describes these for you. So randomized means that students will have 1 attempt at each question. Each student will see different versions of the question. So again, if there is a multiple versions for that, that means if you have 2 students sitting next to each other, the likelihood is that they will have different questions than each other, so that it kind of just, helps so that students aren't looking off of other students' screens. Standard means that each student will have attempt at 1 question, but they'll all see the same version. So either of those, students only get 1 attempt. If they want to try it again, you would have to reset it in the grade book. If you choose the grade it now feature, then they'll automatically get 3 attempts. But again, that's the one that is associated with the do no harm. So if you really wanted the challenge questions to be the only ones that had the do no harm feature, how it works right now, you would have to make the challenge questions the only assignment type that has the graded now. And then unlimited, again, means that students can continue to try and try and try, but it's not going to flow directly into the grade book. So it doesn't look like these settings as they exist today do exactly what you want. My recommendation is to change all of your challenge ones to grade it now, and then use the cog feature to click that to do no harm, so that will affect the challenge questions. And then for the rest of your assignments, including the study guide, keep them either as randomized or standard. Okay? Thanks so much.